friends, my name is Gabrielle and welcome to FrumiousReads, and I have some thoughts on the latest John Green book. Okay, first things first, this happens to be probably my favorite title of John Green because I love turtles. Honestly, I didn't even realize that John Green was coming out with a new book until I kept seeing it all over Twitter when it did come out. I had no idea what this book was about going into it. I read the synopsis right before I started reading it, so I had a vague idea. You're reading from the perspective of Ava Holmes, who has OCD and anxiety, and she describes her thoughts as a constant spiral, and it just continues over and over and over again. Ava is our main character, so she's the perspective we're reading through a lot of the time, and I have to say that I honestly probably enjoy her a lot more than I expected to. This is a John Green book that is different from all of his other books. It alternates between first and second person, which I find really interesting, and I love that aspect of it. I love how the main character is not a reliable narrator at all. So a local billionaire is wanted for arrest after he has escaped from his home and is wanted for investment fraud and just general kind of your typical seedy Wall Street kind of stuff. And the authorities are offering a $100,000 reward to anyone who can give them information about his disappearance. Now, Ava used to be best friends with his son Davis, and so Ava's friend Daisy wants them to get in touch and go and see if they can find out any information so that they can be the ones to collect the reward. Now, that's kind of the plot of this book, but honestly, we don't see it that much. Ava and Davis, they are the ones who have the romantic interest. Without giving too much away, Davis kind of distracts them from getting the reward and tests Ava really to seeing if she's really interested in him or interested in his money. Now, what makes this different from every other John Green novel, I feel like, is that this romantic interest doesn't end the way you expect it to. And honestly, it's not really even focused that much on the romance. It's much more focused on just Ava and how she goes day to day with these thoughts that just basically, when she has these thoughts, they're not something that she could just brush away. It's not something that she could just choose to stop. And that's really a point that I find is really interesting, that it's made throughout the novel. And people expect her to be able to stop these, or that she's being over dramatic or being selfish by not stopping the thoughts that she has, and it's just she cannot actually stop them. And I thought that was a really interesting perspective to take, and I liked that we focused so much on Ava and how she goes day to day with her mental illness and how it really affects her life. Yeah, overall this book was really good. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I feel like it could have done completely without the whole billionaire $100,000 reward plot in general, because it doesn't really impact the story that much, other than the fact that you introduce Davis to Ava, and that's kind of how they get back in touch with each other. So I feel like that was a little unnecessary. There are definitely parts where you really don't like Ava, but then that's almost kind of the point, is that this is not something that's romanticized. It's not something that the character is just quirky or different. It's this is something where you see how Ava's illness not only affects herself, but affects her relationships with others. And I like it. I really enjoyed it. I was reading up on this book after I read it because just finding out when John Green started writing this, and it's very much based on his kind of own experiences, which I thought was interesting. And I heard in an interview how trying to write the next greatest novel, that one that matched and compared to The Fault in Our Stars, actually kind of set him back in his own mental illness journey, and it made him kind of struggle more than he had recently, and so that's kind of where this book came from, and I find that that's just really interesting. Honestly, I feel like even if I didn't like the book, I'd still recommend it to people, because it's one of those books where you read it and then you realize oh, I understand now. I understand why this is so hard for other people. I understand why this is such a big problem and why people need to know more information about it. That is my opinion on Turtles all the way down, and I feel like this book is one that is just you know how in Taylor Swift, when she had her transition period from her pop country into new Taylor stuff, I feel like this is John Green's transition moment. A little bit. Maybe not, maybe I'm totally wrong, but I feel like that's kind of where it's going from, and I love this book. This book was great. Have you guys read this book? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then you definitely should, because I upload bookish videos twice a week, as well as reaction videos whenever something cool comes out that I want to react to. But that's all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay,